Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the market close. Oh boy, we got a green day. Not by a lot. Not by a lot. Kind of a slim margin green day, but nonetheless, it is green. It is green. We'll take it. We'll take it for sure. Oh boy, how have you guys been doing? Are you ready for the big day tomorrow? Tomorrow, this week conversations episode 2 will be live at 3 p.m. Eastern. It will be me and Adrienne from Passive Investing Income. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. I can't wait. I can't wait. It will be a fantastic show. All right. Well, lots of interesting stuff going on in the news. Of course, we had one interesting thing last night. We had the earnings drop for SIA. And I'll tell you, a lot of investors were expecting SIA to go on a bit of a run, a bit of a run. Well, they went on a run, but the wrong direction. So we'll definitely we'll look at that as well. And we're going to talk, of course, a little bit about Air Canada because we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. We have a potential strike that could start as early as Saturday. So we got all of that. We got we got a bell. We get a bell. So all of that in the bell. Let's start though. Let's start with the charts. Oh boy. So not a bad day overall for the TSX. As you can see, we've been mostly climbing, mostly climbing. We're not at an all-time high. We're a little bit below, but we are still well into a green month. So well above that blue line. I'm liking it. South of the border, the S&P 500, same kind of same consensus. Above the line, green day up 0.21%. Now, if there's one party pooper on the day, it's the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is down 0.03%. But yeah, not having the best of days. Not having the best of days. I would call it pretty flat. I would call it pretty flat. Now, mind you, I do believe next week, so next Wednesday, I believe that is NVIDIA earnings. So I'm pretty optimistic about those earnings. So we're gonna see how that's all gonna roll out over the next week. Could be interesting. Um, Need to see if I'll have an entry point if I can play that because I kind of want to play that one. All right. And the Dow Jones. Dow Jones looking pretty good. Dow Jones is up 1.03%. Liking it. And if you want to outdo the Dow, just look at the small cap. The Russell absolutely owning the charts today, up 2.01%. Not too shabby. Pretty good for sure. Gold is up 0.23% today. Silver's up 1.61%. WTI, West Texas Intermediate, down a wee bit, down 0.24%. Crypto having a strong day again. Bitcoin up 2.07%. Ethereum up 2.83%. Oh boy, Ethereum. Ethereum is well above $4,000 a coin. In fact, a $5,000 Ethereum is not out of the question. Not today, but it seems to be happening. It seems to be happening. So what can I say? All right, speaking of, well, yeah, let's not go there yet. Let's start with before we go to the crypto one. As you can see, yeah, a lot of red here in Canada. We do though have, oops, you know what? We don't need, we don't need the side menu. We have a lot of look at this. Constellation Software is down. Ooh, Celestica down 4.30%. Halal is down 1.92%. But we do have a few little good ones. Like look at this. TD 1.61%. Pamina Pipe 2.14%. So that's not too shabby. All Telecom's looking pretty good today. Bell up 2.38, Telus up 1.27, looking good. Heading to the United States, and we got the border, heading to the United States, as you can see, tech mostly in the dump, other than Apple. Apple up 1.88%, but look at this, NVIDIA down 1.29%. Um, Tesla's flat. Tesla negative 1.0%. Now, Larry warned us about Tesla this week, and I haven't seen it yet. So far, Tesla's actually had a pretty good week, but we're only at the hump part of the week, so we got uh, we got to do it. We got to do it. All right. Now, are we? Roy says he's having problems again with the sound. I just saw that. Let me. Okay, I'll turn off the echo cancellation. For some reason, that seems to make it better for the live streams. Makes it terrible for when I'm actually videoing. There we go. Bye bye echo cancellation. It's gone. So hopefully that solves things for this stream. I don't know why that is starting to cause a problem. So we'll have to figure that out. Okay. All right. Back to the U.S. Yeah, I turned it back on. The echo cancellation. I turned it back on at the beginning of this stream because it's never been a problem. It's always been fine. So I thought maybe it was a one-off that last live stream where we were having an issue. But nope. Apparently not. So I'll just have to toggle it back and forth depending on what I'm doing until I find some other fix. Maybe I need a new mic. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. All right. So that was the US. Let's jump over to the crypto map, and we knew it was gonna be green, and we got a lot of green. Look at this: Bitcoin up 2.44, Ethereum 4.61, Solana up 5.79. I love it. Not looking too shabby. Of course, even with all of these coins that are up, you would think. Here we go. My Zoom is now not working. What am I? It's more tech. All right, there we go. I like to just feature some coin doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. A coin I've never heard of. Let's go with this. I don't know what this is. Imajit is absolutely. I have no clue what it is, to be honest. But it looks like it's a pretty new coin. So it is currently sitting at 0.2 of a penny. There's about 10,000, or actually 15,000. There's about 15,000 of these altcoins out there. Most of them, I like to call them crap coins because you just don't know what you're going to get. They're worse than buying a grab bag at the corner store. So you don't know what you're going to get. With a coin like this, gosh, I wouldn't get involved in it personally, but if you want to get involved in one of these like IMGeet, be sure to read the white paper. Find out what the coin does. Make sure it makes sense to you. Honestly, I think if you're gonna gamble with your money, you're probably better off on penny stocks than on some of these crap coins. Stick to the big ones. Stick to your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your Solana, your XRP, and even your Dogecoin, who is up 3.51%. All right, woo, that was fun. Okay, guys, let's get to you guys. Here we go. Jonathan in first. Hold the bell. We got 6 minutes. I'll hold it for 6 minutes, Jonathan. Brian says, good afternoon, everyone. Emrit says, I've been watching Air Canada. Haven't hit that $18 target. You think it will go down, or are they holding strong? Well, here's that thing. I'm beginning to think, Emrit, that, as you know, they've done a whole bunch of share buybacks, and they're still in the process of it. So 18 might be too low. I might have to readjust that to maybe about 1850. So yeah, I think right now, what are they? Are they sitting up around 1942 with the threat of this strike? So as everybody's probably aware, the stewardess and stewards, the online staff basically, they have all voted in favor of strike, and they are legally, they've given their notice, so legally they can be on strike by Saturday. Now, in response to this, Air Canada has already started canceling flights. So if you're planning to fly anywhere anytime soon, I would avoid Air Canada for now. So how is this going to impact their share price? It should bring it down, and I'm hoping to bring it down into a good entry point for a good swing on Air Canada. So we'll be watching them for sure. Sorry, I thought I had you up, Amrit. I did not. Rory is in the house with a hi all. We got Muggsy in here with a hello, everyone. Rory says, I did look at USCL, one of Adriano's holdings, looking to make a small position in that. Yeah, I actually had somebody asked me in the comments the other day if I would do a deep dive on USCL. I said it's on my radar. It's on my radar. So I will tell you tomorrow, or I guess Friday's video. Tomorrow, if you're a channel member, you get to watch it a day early. It's not USCL. We're actually going to look at all of them new harvest. Yeah, we're looking at all the new harvest ETFs. I'm really excited about HHIC and all of the Canadian ones. I am very excited about them. So, and they will be going on sale this month. So anyway, check out that video for sure. Jim is in the house with a yay, I made it. And we have, whoa, where am I? Here I am. We have Mary. Mary's in the house with a hello, and Mary is our official captain of the like button. So guys, make Mary happy. Click the like button. Turn it blue. I'll have some coffee because you guys are all busy clicking that old like button. Gosh, so good. Paul says, hold my rotation model buy signal for HIMS today. Or sorry, had my rotation model buy signal for HIMS today. I fat fingered my sell of strategy shares doing 39.XX shares. Then it was supposed to be 36.XX. Bought more HIMS than expected. HIMS went up after. Okay, well, at least HIMS went up. You know, I don't mind if I accidentally buy too many and it goes up. Well, hey, that's a problem. That's a good problem to have. And definitely a good problem to have. Ricardo says, good afternoon. Long time work has me beaten with financial reporting, season heavy at the university. It doesn't sound fun. Ricardo, it's you're not having a good time from the sounds of that. Hopefully it's mostly over. Jersky says hello, and let's see. Ricardo says, I made a few plays over the week, 10 XOM and 10 Calm. Feel pretty good about the eggs for sure, specifically with CPI creeping up again. Yes, and I know the U.S. actually had CPI readings come out this week. Now, overall, inflation is holding steady, but there's when you start looking at core and you start looking behind the scenes, there's some creepage. Those tariffs are taking effect, and the worst of it is still yet to come. The worst is absolutely coming for you. Muggsy says, I don't know if anyone else is hearing this, but your mic cuts out. Yeah, that was the whole weird echo cancellation thing. So I've got that off for now. So hopefully, the only thing I've heard is that when it is off, apparently my live stream, the volume is a little bit lower, so you may have to crank it up a little bit. Now, speaking of volume, we do have that bell coming up in about 50 seconds. All right, Doorpot says, hi all. Rory says, let's see, I trimmed RBC yesterday for a 48% locked in ROI, riding too high in my opinion. Mary says, hi, you likes shout up. Yeah. Okay, yeah, hit the like button. That's what that boils down to. Jersky is in the house and talking about SmartCentres. So that is, I believe that one is SRU. We can take a look at that here in just a second. First, we got ourselves in a couple of seconds here. We have, oh yes, here it comes. It's time for the bell. Woo! There we go. Market's closed. Love it. Love it. Market's closed. All right. SRU. Let's head over there. Let's take a look. Rory says that no, Jersky says that there was a big spike on it. All right. SRU. Boop-a-doo-boo. Where am I? Where is my... Oh, here it is. Here it is. Hiding. All right. SRU. All right. So SmartCentres Real Investment Trust. So it is a REIT. Uh-oh. We accidentally went to Stitz Benefits. These stupid ads. If you don't click on the right spot, you end up... you don't know where you're going to end up. But yeah, oh, look at this. Look at this. This is a pretty good climb here. I'm going to back out a little bit, though. Yeah, like, here's the 3 months on SRU. And that is, yeah, that's a big movement from 25 to 26. Now, mind you, this is not just a single day. This has been happening since the beginning of the month. But, let me... Dear gosh, for some reason my mouse is just not, it's not doing what I want it to do. I'm going to go back to the 1 year on this. We'll manually move by clicking on this. So yeah, we can definitely see. Not bad. Now I wonder if they had earnings. I'm wondering if that's the case, Jersky. Let's just add them over here. Let's just take a gander and see. SRU, here we are. SRU-UN. Let's put that in there. Probably going to have to do SmartCentres. Smart. All right. SmartCentres. SRU. There it is. Bang. All right. Now let's go down and take a gander here and see. All right. So, yeah, we had earnings back here not that long ago. They weren't stellar. Now, other than, and this is kind of weird, they did, when you look at their actual earnings per share, they absolutely creamed it with there. I mean, they came in at 6.1. But, you know, we don't have a lot of information, so I don't know if that standardized was what the original estimate was. So we can't really look at that too much. But they were down a little bit on their revenue. Nonetheless, even before the earnings came in, look at this. Well, you can see that little bit down there, they did have a red spike to start that day. But, yeah, they've been on a tear since early August. Yeah, right around August 1st. They have been moving up big time. So what is going on here? Let's see. So yesterday, they were maintained at sector performed by Scotiabank. So, and by National Bank. Yeah, so right now, they're liking it. The banks are liking them, and that is giving, well, it's giving investors a lot more confidence. So, yeah, this is not bad. This is not bad at all. Not really a clear, other than the fact the only news that we have on them is the banks. The banks are saying, yeah, they're doing okay. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to continue to watch that. All right. Now, let's see here. Right, underwater. Yep, that was when, that was that moment when I still had it on. All right, let's see. You never said echoey. Did you move your mic over the last few weeks? Oh, my mic is moved every day. It has its little place, and when I record, I bring it down and set it up. So yeah, the mic is constantly moving. Strategy, not following Bitcoin, it gets frustrating. Yeah, now, a lot of that is a lot of the way strategy sort of finances buying more Bitcoin can certainly put them at odds to the price of Bitcoin. So in the past, Bitcoin went up, strategy went up. Simple as that. It was almost Strategy was almost like an unofficial spot Bitcoin ETF in many ways, but it's not that way anymore. I still think I think long-term strategy is going to be absolutely fine. I mean, as long as Bitcoin keeps going up, and there's no reason to say that they won't. I mean, look at them today, up at 122. That's just that's pretty good. So maybe we're at the beginning of that run, because I was expecting them to go up to about 130. Um, that's where I expect, but I'm willing to admit they could go even higher. I'm saying 130 to 150 is a range, but I don't see them going above 150. Not this time. Not this time around. But we'll see. We'll see. Bitcoin can prove everybody wrong all the time. It's that type of an asset. And Jim says, I've got some BTCY. It's a roller coaster. So yeah, so that's your purpose Bitcoin ETF. So that one is using covered calls. So a lot of times, one of the downsides to this, I like when Bitcoin is going down, or more of a sideways pattern. I love BTC, something like a BTCY at that point, because they're going to have no problems picking up that premiums. I'm going to make some money while Bitcoin is holding. But once Bitcoin gets on a run, I usually will get out of BTCY just because of that loss in upside potential. At that point, I'll usually move to something that is more of a spot Bitcoin ETF. So, and I did that a lot. Actually, if you watched throughout the challenge, you'll see I went from, I think I actually had BTCY at the beginning of the 0 to 100K challenge. Then moved to BTCC. And right now I'm not even, I have some Solana. And then I also have the Bitcoin Leaders ETF right now. So definitely some interesting movements for sure. Brian says, okay, everyone, buy a Majit, pump and dump. No thanks. Yeah, I don't know what, I don't even know what that Jeet means. It's probably somebody's name, I'm thinking. Bleak is in the house. Rory says, no, you got to buy from Rug Pull Corp. That's the one. That's the one. All right. Paul says, my recent all-time high was something during Monday. Then MicroStrategy went from 410 to 393. Yikes. Roku says, I have to turn up my TV volume halfway to hear you today. Oh, and afternoon all. That's the thing, right? For whatever reason is when I have the echo cancellation off, it does cut the volume. Now, I wonder, just give me a second, guys. I'm going to, okay. I've just increased the gain a little bit on this just to see if it's adding a bit more volume. So we'll see. We'll see. Oh boy. Jim says it will be pretty funny. The day she does pick rug pull, the day she does pick a rug pull coin. It's completely random, but it probably will happen. It probably will happen. Rory is cheering for a strike. Come on, strike. Let me get in at $17. That would be nice. Oh, I'd buy a good amount of Air Canada at $17 for sure. King Deuce says, a good day, please. Press the like button. Yeah, absolutely. Nice, that brings in a swing trade. Roku, change your hearing aid battery. Sound is just fine. Paul says, Ricardo, do you have to spend the budget amount? Otherwise, you get the budget reduced. The bell tolls for thee. Oh, and there's the Nightbot talking about the Friday show. What's the fun? Mouse battery might be dying, Candace. Well, it isn't. I just actually changed the battery. But this mouse is quite literally about 3, maybe 4 years old. And sometimes I just find that mice don't last. Mice don't last forever. All right. Mary saying, buy or sell Constellation Software, CSU. All right. Let's pull them up. All right, let's come over here. CSU. Now this is kind of our biggest of our tech companies. Yeah, and you can see we've got a little bit of a correction happening right now. But let's zoom out. We're gonna zoom out to 3 years, and yeah, I mean they have had a constant climb up, um, and it's been kind of interesting. Now, what is interesting is when you look, a lot of people when we had this as we were coming down into here, well, now mind you, this one's a little bit different. Actually, this one's probably better. Only because this one over here, this is your independence, your liberation day. So Donald Trump causing a big divot in the market right there. But yeah, when we came down in here, a lot of people were like, should I be selling? Is it time to finally get out? Are we finally coming back down to earth with Constellation software? And the answer is no. No, we're not. And I don't think we're coming back down now. Like, I think this is a correction. So I would say dollar cost average, probably. I mean, they are, and keep in mind, they're expensive. So this is the type of one that I would be looking at on maybe Wealthsimple. Like maybe you want to do a fractional. Because just one share, $4,507.58. Boy, I sure would love a stock split. But you know what? Some of these companies that get crazy high share prices, it almost becomes a badge of honor. And they're like, yeah, we're never going to do that. And I guess you really don't. I mean, you could own 0.1% or 0.0001% if you want. So Wealthsimple is one of those ones, one of those brokers that does allow fractional. And I'll put the link in here for you in case you want to try out Wealthsimple. Here we go. There we go. Oh, that's not going to do it. It needs to be an exclamation mark. All right, there we go. So yeah, I mean, if you want to try out Wealthsimple, that link I just put in the chat, that will, well, if you try it out, you'll get 25 bucks free just for trying it out. Full disclosure, the channel does get 25 as well, but it's good. I like Wealthsimple. I think it's a very, very friendly broker, especially for first time investors. So very, very nice. All right, and AA had the same question about CSU. Emrat says, is BTCY okay to hold in the TFSA? I have BTCC right now in there. I know the CRA does not like crypto in the TFSA, but I think BTCC is okay since it is an ETF. And yeah, well, BTCY is also an ETF. So there's no difference. Like, when you look at them, they're both holding crypto. It's just one is using covered calls, the other's not. That's the big difference. No, there's no issues. You can hold that in your TFSA. It's one of the few ways you can have crypto exposure in your TFSA. So you're fine. You are absolutely fine. Paul says, SSK Rex Osprey Solana staking ETF hits all-time high with Solana over 200. If you bought SSK on July 12th, the last all-time high, you would be waiting until today to break even. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Let's see. Buy or sell LMN and TOI. Well, TOI, that's the Topicus.com. They've spun out from Constellation Software. And LMN, I think, is a similar vertical software company as well. Let me just take a look here. It's been a while. LMN, the looming group right here. And I have a feeling, it seems to me like all three of these are doing pretty much the exact same thing. Yeah. So Looming is also one of these vertical software companies as well. Let me make sure. I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah. See, and you'll notice right here, it's they're another spin-off from Constellation Software. So I think they're all moving in that same direction. So what can I say? What can I say? All right. Gas money. Well, there you go. Yeah, gas money. Or Or maybe from the sounds of it, it might be put some money in a fund to get a new mic. That might be what's going on. Although I do have this. I have this little Rode mic here. Actually, let's go big screen here for a second. I got this little Rode mic here. I could probably just pin it on and use that. You know what? I'll try to. I'll see if we can get that going. I'll see. Maybe I can do that tomorrow, because I definitely want the sound to be perfect when we have Adriano on the live stream tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. So this week conversations, our second one. So that's going to be fun. That will absolutely be fun. All right. Oh boy. So SIA. I wanted to talk a tiny bit about SIA. Let me pull this back up here, and we're going to head over here for a second, and we're going to take a look over here at SIA. So here, here's that interesting thing. So SIA, they've performed very well in the last quarter. They've done well. Absolutely. Now, their earnings came out, and their earnings, they exceeded revenue by 4.06%. So they did fine. They actually did fine. You know, this is really good. Now, everybody has been expecting all week. People have been buying SIA because, hey, SIA is supposed to be going up. I got in on SIA as well to do a swing trade, and I got in somewhere's on this line here, probably about halfway. It's probably close. I probably get in about here. Actually, yeah, it was right about 1870, somewhere's in that vicinity. So I got in at the bottom of this green line, and I waited on this morning. I was there as the market opened, and SIA went up a tiny bit, but then stopped and started moving in the other direction. And I was like, uh-oh, there's trouble here. There's trouble here. This is not what it should be doing. So I had a bad feeling. So I ended up getting out. I got out probably about here. So I did make a little profit. Not as much as I had been hoping to make, mind you. And I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't say, oh, let's just wait this out. Because if I had waited this out, oh boy, I would have lost. I would have been holding this trade for a long time to make that money back, for sure. So it is kind of interesting. Sometimes you can have a good earnings, but yet you can falter. Now, why? Good question. Now, there's also a news thing down here as well. And even looking at the news, it's not looking bad. It's looking pretty good. So yeah, look, revenue up 17.4%, beating expectations. So I do not know what caused that fall, but sometimes it does happen. Sometimes, for whatever reason, investors just are like, and it might be. I'm just going to give you a possible scenario. There was a lot of movement to the upside. A lot of people betting on Sienna, and maybe once we get up here, the fact that we weren't going any higher, everybody had already gotten their bet in, and then we started falling. Maybe a lot of these people who are betting on Sienna also did the exact same thing I did and got out. And that, of course, then drove that price and gave it a good push to the downside. That might be what happened, because right now I don't have any definitive information that says anything different. So that's definitely very, very interesting. Now, here's another interesting story today. Not SRU. That is not where I wanted to go, actually. Where I wanted to go is, I'm just going to get rid of a couple of these other ones here. There we go. I actually wanted to go to Metro. Metro had a little bit of a drop today. Here we go. Well, a little bit, 7%. 7%. Look at this. So their earnings, of course, came out, and their earnings were not great. And we definitely had a big drop on Metro. So anybody holding Metro, here's the good news: is they will be fine. If you hold them long enough, you will be back in the green. But for Metro, they did miss their earnings. The earnings their earnings per share, they missed that by 0.69%, and then their revenue, they missed that by 0.75%. So they weren't down big time, but they were down enough that investors didn't like it. Definitely didn't like it. Now I did buy. I actually started a swing trade with this. Of course, I bought down in here. Actually, just before this little red wick, I'm sitting in around here. So I'm hoping to see them get back above 100, and I'll take some profits. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at that one. Rory says Adriana's portfolio is impressive with all those covered call ETFs. Yeah, I mean with Adriano, and you guys will see this tomorrow. It's 100% income. He's the income guy. So we're gonna pick his brain on a lot of things. Like I've already heard from some of you guys saying you want him talking about return of capital, tax efficiency, share erosion. So we're gonna hit all of those topics tomorrow, and I'm also kind of curious if all of his accounts are income. Is he running income out of his RRSP, or does he actually have an account that perhaps is a less income focused account? Maybe not. He may not. I don't know. That's why I'm going to ask him. So it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait. Andrew says, are all penny stocks mooning at the moment? No, not all of them. But yeah, I mean, look here. Let's head back over here for a second. When we look at today, so your small cap in the U.S., that is your Russell, and here we go. So yeah, look at that. The Russell today outperformed all of the other markets, up 1.94%. I'll just pull that up on the screen. So right now, yeah, small caps have been doing pretty good since about the 12th of August. Around the 12th of August, the small caps doing fantastic. All right. Let's see here. Jim says the sound just great now. Okay. I like to hear that. Amrit says, I wonder if it might be a good to grab Sia tomorrow if it has not recovered to keep for a swing. I'm kind of thinking that. Now, I already did my swing at the top, but maybe there might be something to ride back up. Let's see. Sia down 3.38% on the day is a typical day for strategy in Tesla. There we go. Exactly. Got the night bought again. All right. Isaac says, I bought some MRU and Loblaws. Yeah. Buy the dip. If you are investing in some of those recession-proof stocks, so consumer staples, take advantage of days like today. Take advantage, get yourself some more. Nothing wrong with that at all. Brian says, I've watched Adrian for a while. I always wonder about erosion, but he has been doing well. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna talk all about that tomorrow. Try to get all of the good answers. We'll get all the good answers out for sure. And here's an interesting thing, guys. You know what? Let's actually, give me a second here. I'm going to pull this over. All right, this here is the channel dashboard. All right. No, do I have it up? Yes, I do. So this is the channel dashboard, but I'm going to come in here. Let's go into analytics, and I want to go into my audience. All right. So this is interesting. These here are these are the top channels that you guys watch when you're not watching Mountain Finance. And at the top is passive income investing. So Adriana's channel is the most popular amongst you guys. Then there's Marcus Milla. I don't know who Marcus Milla is. Gary Gill. Now, Gary was in, he was actually in the chat. Was it last week? Passive income investor. Okay. And Doug the retirement guy. So yeah, these are the top ones. Let's just take a look here. And then Beavis Wealth, Parallel Wealth, Canadian in a T-shirt, Victoria Media, covered call ETF investing, and we'll just top it off with Dividend Bull, Income Architect, Better Call Paul, and Ari Gutman. Ari Gutman. There we go. Oh, and Golden Larch Investing. There we go. So those are the channels that you guys watch. So that's why it's, to me, when I'm looking at this, when I do these this week conversations, these are the people. These are the people I want to bring in. People who are on this list. So we've already had Brandon Beavis was our first one. And Adriana is in here. And I'm not sure yet who my next one is. But it's probably going to be somebody who's on this list for sure. Let's see here. Jim says his RRSP is just leverage cash call ETF. Okay, fair enough. See, Jim may already know all the answers. And Jim says ETF. All right. Ooh, here comes Larry. I've been wondering where Larry is. So Larry says, I expected a mass layoff last week at Tesla. Unfortunately, they're behind on cars at the moment, so finishing them off first. And you know what? If that mass layoff had happened, their price would have tanked. So yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. That makes sense. Now, mind you, if they're getting caught up on cars, once they do get caught up, we could see that drop that Larry's been predicting. So keep your eyes open and listen to Larry. Listen to Larry. He'll probably give us more hints when we get closer to that. Paul says, when will Canadian stocks have fractional shares and trading after hours? Right now, it's probably not anytime soon, but I think that would be very interesting. I think things are going to start changing anyway worldwide, because as you know, we used to have a T+3 model. Now we're down to T+1, and that just basically has to do with how long it takes for your trades to settle. So, which is great because now, you don't have to wait half a week to get your money if you sell some stocks. You pretty much get it within the next day to two, depending on what time of the day you sold. I know that I believe India wants to go to same day, and eventually I think we'll get to a point where it'll be a lot like crypto. I think it'll eventually get to be like crypto in that you'll be able to buy and sell same day and actually pull your money out without having to have a lot of time for settling. So I do see it heading in that direction. But will that mean after hours trading for Canadian stocks? That's interesting. Now, fractional shares, obviously right now it's all broker dependent, because what happens is, well, Wealthsimple will take the most popular stocks and they will stock up on them, and then they will sell you fractions of those stocks. So they're doing it themselves. So that's just kind of the way that they're able to offer that service to you. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the evolution of the stock market. I have a feeling, like, a lot of what goes on in the stock market even today is, built on the fact that, back in the olden days, you sold a stock. Somebody, your broker actually had to take it to a stock house, and it used to take 3 days just to get the certificates back and forth and all of that fun stuff. So a lot of that was kind of built into that time frame. So I think we'll get to a point where maybe we'll get to a point where we'll have 24/7 trading. Not anytime soon, but I think eventually that'll probably happen. And when I say eventually, just because when I say soon and eventually, that's not really a definitive time. So when I say eventually, I'm talking more than 10 years down the line, like probably closer to 15 to 20 years from now, we probably will see that. But I mean, you never know. It could happen a lot sooner. It could happen a lot sooner. Bismarcky says, Happy Wednesday, everyone. Thought today was Adriano Day. I have to wait another day. Yes, so Adriano Day is tomorrow. So tomorrow. And we're starting early. We're starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you can't make it, definitely the replay will be available for you as normal. Larry says management is moving to Samsung now before it happens. Makes sense. Tesla managers are crossing the floor. Now, guys, keep in mind, and one of the reasons that Larry has a lot of this inside information is Larry used to work for Tesla. He knows a lot of the people there, so I do trust Larry's judgment for sure. Doorpat says, since covered call ETFs provide steady income even during downturns, why bother with recession-proof stocks or mature blue chip stocks? They both don't have much capital appreciation. There's many things to sort of look at. Here's kind of my strategy. My strategy is I will tend to shift a lot more towards covered calls, and once the market's gone down and we kind of get to that, that bottom, not the bottom per se, but we get to that point where the big drops are done and it's mostly sideways with maybe a slight incline until we get to the bottom. For me, I like to switch a lot more to covered calls at that point because that's where they make the most money. That's where they do really, really, really well. But once the market moves back into bull territory, then I like to move a lot more back to to regular either ETFs or to individual companies, just because I want to get all of that upside potential as things are exploding and heading up. I don't want to be losing, and you will make more money. Like a regular ETF will make more money than a covered call ETF on the way up, and we're talking total return, so that includes all the dividends and everything. Now, if you reinvest, then yeah, you get a little bit closer, but you're still good. The non-covered call version will still win in a bull market. Now, when you're going sideways, of course, of course, if you're picking up covered calls, that's going to definitely, you're going to definitely make more money in that situation. Ari Gutman is good too. There we go. Yeah, he was one of those names. I don't know who he is. I have to check out more of the people on this list. I really, really do. Paul says a few cover call ETFs did better than other cover call ETFs in the 2022 bear market. Ask Adriana which those were. Absolutely. Well, you'll be here tomorrow, Paul. Unless you're not going to be here tomorrow. But yeah, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. And I'll keep them. I'll try it. I'll keep them as long as I can, guys. I'll keep them as long as I can. Amrit says, just came across Gary Gill, and he has some great content. Yeah, and like I said, Gary was in one of the chats not that long ago. So I definitely have to get over there and repay the favor. Let's see, Jim, I watched this stuff in the morning before work. Lots of it. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everyone on that list. Yeah, I mean, it is a good list. Absolutely. Let's see. Paul says, there's talk that one Tesla's factory has floors underground and they are storing built cybercabs or this new cheaper model until the September 30th USA EV credits end. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I have not heard those rumors, but Larry, have you heard those? Rory says, the olden days people actually panned and mined gold in the Yukon. Well, yeah, those are the very olden days. It's funny. I think when everybody hears the olden days, we all get different things. Like, I usually think of the 70s and 80s as the olden days nowadays. I'll see. Larry says, everyone over 40 in management. All right. Jim says, I worked for a placer mine outside of Dawson City, 80 kilometers in the bush. Oh my gosh. That, I don't know if I'd want to do that. There's things I probably don't want to do, and probably working in a mine outside of Dawson City, 80 kilometers in the bush, is probably not on my list of things that I hope to do. um, Larry says, anyway, picked up Intel Friday for 1940, sold today for 2220. Nice. That is not too shabby. Jay says, Slate trucks look more promising for electric trucks if they can keep it around 30K. Very customizable when it comes to options. The only advantage I could see for Tesla is their software side. Yeah, interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, the RoboCab, I have a feeling that Elon's going to double down on that a little bit because that could be where they're going to make their money. Because I think the dominance that they've had in EV I think it's over. I think it's over. I think it also doesn't help that you've got the Trump administration kind of sort of going poo poo on EV. I don't think that's helping at all. But the cabs, I think there's something there. Larry says, at Paul, the factory in Austin has tunnels now. Oh, there we go. Rory, Jim, it's nothing like working for Parker Schnabel. I don't know who Parker Schnabel is, but that's fine. Shout out for Parker Schnabel. Why not? Don't know who you are, but you got a shout out. Jim says, we were the next mine over. It was pretty high value, moved a lot of material, no drama, just production. Cool. Dan says, I just invest in GLCL and let them pan for me. Yeah, absolutely. Nothing like a good gold ETF to just, no work. You just sit back and let the profits roll in. Gotta love it. We'll be watching on Thursday, not working again until Friday. I wouldn't be able to watch a Friday show. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Let's see. Paul says, Larry, that was almost 15%. Not bad. And, I finally caught up. Andrew says, I have invested heavy in Mark Leonard companies. Let's see what he does next year or what he next year holds. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Oh boy, guys. This is gonna be. I mean, this will be a fun week for sure. And of course, I did mention before, the next video coming out on Friday is I am doing a review. Like, I guess more of a preview, not really a review. A preview of all of these new Harvest ETFs. And there's, counting HHIC, there's like 11. There's some really good ones in there that I'm kind of excited for some of them. I want them to go on sale tomorrow. I'm not going to jump in immediately, though. I will probably kind of gauge where each one is going. But one I can guarantee you 100% I will add to the challenge is HHIC. Because HHIC is basically the Canadian version of HHIS. So HHIS is that diversified one that has all of the American single share stock ETFs in it. The HHIC is going to have all the Canadian ones in it. Like there's 10. There'll be 10 of them in there. And I like it. I like it a lot. So I can't wait. Muggsy says, I was lucky enough to visit one of those mines outside of Dawson City, and they allowed me to hold about $6,000 in gold. Nice. I would always say, will you allow me to run away fast with the $6,000 in gold? But, probably not. Paul says, you have never watched Gold Rush TV show. Parker started as a teenager gold in mining and has his own company now about 15 years later. Okay. See, I had not heard about him. Brian has bought more HHIS today. Well, maybe once you see the HHIC, you might get a little excited. I'm excited about it. Rory says I'd probably stick to those new ETFs that have been around for a while. Well, yeah. So a good example. They're going to have one for CNQ. Now, CNQ is down right now, but that's a stock when the oil price of oil turns around, I think CNQ will absolutely explode. Now, That does kind of go both ways, though, right? Now, one of the ways it goes is that holding the single share, yeah, you'll get a really good dividend, but you will lose a lot of upside potential. So that's kind of one of those one downside to it. But right now, you can make a lot of income as as it's going sideways, and there's a good chance that we won't see a recovery in oil this year, especially if OPEC decides to to keep increasing production. And we already know that they're increasing production in September, and they might very well continue that trend for the rest of this year. So that could be really good for the ETF. Maybe not the best for C&Q's price. Tony says, what is the best dividend stocks for Canadian ETFs? That's always a good question. That's always a good question. I always find it subjective. Like, there's a couple of ways to answer this. One is depending on your risk level. So, if you are, if you're looking to make income and you're okay with a little bit of extra risk, then going into like a covered call with covered call with leverage is a great way to go. So you've already heard people talking about HHIS, so the Harvest High Income Shares. It's a fantastic. You get a bit of leverage. You get some leverage in there. You get some covered calls in there, and you got a good diversification. Now they're all investing in U.S. stocks, and there's a whole bunch that are in there. Like there's also high shares for a bunch of different U.S. companies. They're all pretty good too. Now, if you're perhaps not as risk inclined, there's a lot of other really good ETFs. Like if you're into that growth phase. So if you're young and you're like, you know what, I got a bit of a runway in front of me and I'm just looking to grow big. I'm not worried about the income. Then there's a lot of good ones. Everything from if you're into the S&P 500, you got things like VFV. If you want more world diversification, you got ones like XEQT, which is like an all equity. And that, of course, will give you exposure to the world, including, most of the continents and emerging markets in there as well. When I say most of the continents, it's for the reason that I don't think there's a lot in Africa, and there's definitely none from Antarctica. But every other continent, you're good. Bismarcky says, I'm interested in HHIC and what the monthly dividend will be. Yes, that we don't know. We don't know that yet. I was digging around when I was scripting this video to see if there was even some rumors out there, and there was nothing. But we'll find out soon enough. We will find out pretty darn soon. Okay, and here's more information. Tony's saying, I'm retired, I need income. Dividend tops are best for me. So yeah, I would look at the Harvest High Income Shares. So, that's like HHIS and some of the other ones. Those are going to give you some really fantastic income. Also, these new ones coming out, I think, are going to be the same. So these are also Harvest High Income, but they're investing in Canadian companies. I think they'll also be good as well. There's a lot of different options. In fact, just look on the channel. I actually, in the last 2 months, I've done more income lists than I normally do. So there's a whole bunch in there, a lot of great ideas, and then you get a little bit better, a little bit more of a breakdown for some of them, for sure. Tom is hoping for a bigger dip on Air Canada. Yeah, you and me both. But here's that thing, and I mentioned this earlier in the stream. I was thinking of doing a new swing at 18, and I'm thinking 18 might be too low. I'm thinking maybe 1850 might be where I'm gonna dive in. So yeah, I'm thinking 1850, and I'm almost thinking 19, but no, I think 1850. So if the strike goes ahead on Saturday, I think we should get below that. I think we should get below the 1850. But right now, last time I looked, they were sitting around 1940. Let's take a look right now. Let's take a look. See where they're at. Air Canada. Here we go. Boom, bang. Oh my God, they're even higher. I want to see them go down, not up. But so right now they're sitting at 1966. They had a good day. They had a good day despite the fact that they're canceling flights. Uh, Nobody seems to care. They're like, yeah, we're buying. Unless everybody's getting in thinking that, this is the bottom. And it's not. It's not. I mean, when we pull back, we'll go back here. You can start to see these are the plays in here. You can see the plays. You can see we're kind of, now we're not going to go down to like $13. It's just not going to happen because, as I said before, they instituted share buybacks. So basically, in total, they're buying back about 10% of their shares. That will inflate that price. Well, you could technically say it should inflate it by at least, about 10%. Now they did that. When they did that, that price was around 15.49. So it was in here, around here, that they announced the share buybacks. So you could say that that means that their low at that point would be $16 or $17 or so. Now they did go a little bit lower for Liberation Day, so you got to keep that in mind. So this low down here, this was Liberation Day. The entire market did a crazy dive. It's almost like everybody all at once decided to dig to China. But yeah, this one's an abnormality. So look at this as being more of the low. So they're low in around 15, around 15 is where they kind of settled in for a low. I'm thinking now this 18 area, I'm thinking, between 17 and 18 might be. So you can see this little line of support in here. That might be their new low. That might be. We'll have to see what happens here. They might push below that if we get a strike. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. There we go. Jim says, I watched the first episode Parker was in, and it was pretty funny. Made Todd look like a clown. Let's see. Poof. Todd Hoffman couldn't find gold in a jewelry store. There we go. Paul says, these Harvest single stock ETFs are in CAD, so a way to buy USD stocks that are not a CIBC CDR. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the CIBC CDRs for those US stocks, to me, I like those for simple swings where I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about, because usually with a simple swing, I'm looking for a quick little burst. And I don't want a covered call to have to, to get, capped upside potential, sort of dulling that simple swing. So I do like the CDRs for that. Now, mind you, I think the volume is fine. Like, I've never had an issue selling one of these CIBC CDRs. So, I know some people are like, volume. But I wouldn't worry. Oh, and the night bot. So, yeah, if you guys want a Friday show, you guys know the drill. What is it? Four supers or 4 gifted memberships or a combination of the two gets a show. Tony says high risk. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, those ETFs that we were talking about earlier, some of the Harvest high shares, those are definitely ones to look at as well. There's a lot, but as I said, just go through about the last month of the channel. You'll have more options, and then you can sort of look and say, okay, well, which of these makes sense for me? Because there's a lot of good ones. Jim says the single stock ETF products just don't turn my crank. Yeah, and for some people they don't. That's one of the reasons. Like, my favorite out of all of the single ones for the US is HHIS, because you do get that diversification. Now there is, of course, lots of really good ones out there. Like Bank. Take Bank for example. That I love Bank. They've got leverage. They've got leverage and covered calls, and they've been in the green for a long time now in my portfolio, and they're just pumping out income regularly, and that's giving me bank exposure as well as the life cos. I like the fact that they have the life cos as well, and also Power Corp of Canada. No idea why Power Corp of Canada as well, but hey, why not? Tony says, I am in my 60s. Okay, fair enough. So your runway's not as long. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. And typically when you are in your 60s, or, whether you have retired or are about to retire, one of those transitions is, taking that TFSA that you've grown through your working career and turning it into a money printer, a tax-free money printer. There's nothing like that. And that's a great way, because all of that money, especially if you've got it all in your TFSA, it's coming out tax-free. So it's not affecting any of your supports. So, if you've got OA, well, of course you have OAS. It doesn't support your OAS. It doesn't affect your, if you have GIS, if you're low income, that one there won't get affected either. It doesn't affect anything. Whereas like you take CPP, so the Canada Pension Plan, that is counted as income, and that actually can impact some of your other supports. But yeah, and if you did a really good job during your investing years, and if you have a really big TFSA, you can get a half decent tax-free income just flowing in. There's nothing like that. To me, that's kind of the dream. That's kind of the dream, I think, for a lot of people. Rory says single stock ETFs are kind of dumb. Okay, fair enough. SPMO is a momentum ETF that has done 40% year to date versus VOO or QQQ. I haven't really looked at SPMO that much, Paul. I probably should take a look at it. I know I do want to. I do want to do an episode or a video on some of the very high income US ETFs. I haven't yet, and I've had a few people, some of my American followers, saying please do one. So I'm listening to you guys. I am listening, and it is going to happen. I just don't know when, but soon, probably sooner than later. Andrew says, what are your thoughts on PRU.to? All right, well, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up here. PRU. Here we go. Superseus Mining. All right, now, obviously my first thought is they're small. I wouldn't call them a penny stock, though. They have reached past that goal. They're what I call penny adjacent, but nonetheless, first thing I want to look at is let's just go back and look at their 3-year, and this is great. Like, look at this. This is a good movement. They've gone from being very close to a penny stock now to being, they've developed quite a bit. All right, now I'd like to come down here, and right away, my eyes drawn to earnings per share, because if it's in the positive, especially with newer companies or smaller companies, that shows me that they are in the they're in the green, and I like that. I like the fact that they are not, I guess, or in the black. I like the fact that they're making money. That to me is a big thing. Now they do have a small dividend, 1.417. It's one of those semi-annual ones, so twice a year. That kind of sucks, but this company here, you're not investing in this company for the dividends. You're in here for the growth. So let's go into their back end here. We'll pull up their key data, and this is kind of interesting. So I don't have, they're not giving me any return on equity data, any return on asset data. I'm assuming they probably have no debt. I'm assuming, but so here's what I'm gonna do. Let's take PRU, and I'm just gonna go over here and see if I can get some more data with Yahoo Finance. Here we go. PRU. We'll put it in the TO. Normally, though, if they do have that data available, normally TSX is okay because it's a Canadian one, but let's just take a look and see. Here we go. We do get a lot more information here with Yahoo for this one. So return on equity, 23.15%. Andrew, you know how to show me a stock I'm gonna like. I like that. I like a nice high return on equity because that shows a lot of stability in that company. Return on assets, also look at this, 16.14%. That's fantastic. And their profit margin, that's really good as well, 31.92. So they're printing cash. They're doing really, really well. And their debt, there we go. We finally have it, 0.15% debt to equity ratio. They're doing everything right. These are strong fundamentals. So I like PRU. And just coming back here, guys, let's just go back to the overview. So obviously, guys, they're into mining. They're into mining. And I think mining's going to be strong for a while. I think mining will be very strong for a while. So if you'll notice here, so they're engaged in the exploration, evaluation, development, and mining of gold in West Africa. It doesn't matter where it is. If they got the rights to do it, um, I like it. I like it. So yeah, I think PRU. They're very interesting. They're very interesting, Andrew. I might have to throw just a little bit into them. I might have to because those are strong fundamentals. So yeah, I like them. I like them. I didn't know that I liked them before you asked, but those initial fundamentals, obviously, before I buy, I'm going to do a little bit. I'm going to dive a little deeper, but from the surface data, they look pretty darn good. Rory says, I'm good with a 12 to 14% dividend yield on these new ETFs. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Um, it'll be interesting to see. They might go higher. It's kind of like if you look at the US ones, some of them have crazy high. And we'll have to see if some of the Canadian ones end up with some crazy high ones as well. But we'll see. I can't wait for that information to drop. Let's see. Paul says, also curious about the 1.25 leverage and when the underlying stocks go down. Yeah, well, obviously, if you got 25% leverage, if the stocks go down, you're going to go down. Well, you should, theoretically, you should go down by 25% extra. So if it drops $1, you should drop $1.25. Now, it doesn't always work exactly to the math, but that is roughly what you should be kind of geared for. Unlike, if you guys watched that dangerous ETF video, some of those ETFs, when they go down big time because they're using multitudes of leverage, a lot of them. All right. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Jim says, I went with QDay for my distribution engine. Yeah, I like QDay. QDay, of course, has, the Q lets you know it's part of the NASDAQ. So I'm pretty excited about QDay as well. Andrew says, everyone hit the like button. Yeah, guys, do hit the like button for sure. Ah, so good. Rory says, I'm getting USCL below 22 if I can. Interesting play. Yeah, I think that would be a smart move, to be honest. And guys, just since we were talking about USCL, and I got the screen up. Let's bring it up. All right. So once again, this is another, it's another ETF, and this one here is your Global X Enhanced S&P 500 Call ETF. So I love it. I love it. What I'm actually, this is where I've been trying to think about this USCL. Like, I do want to include them in a video sooner than later. I'm almost thinking of doing like an S&P 500 and all of the different options for investing in it, going from plain vanilla to maximum enhancement. So that's kind of where I've been thinking. So I don't know when. It's probably going to be an August video, but that is one of the things I've been looking. So yeah, this here is your Global X Enhanced S&P 500. You will see it's got itself a nice big distribution, so a yield of 12.843%. So that's 24.5 cents per share that you have in this ETF. And just to pull it out, the S&P 500, as you can know, it's, here's Donald Trump once again. But yeah, since the S&P has been on a tear up, and so has this ETF. So I will be very interested. In fact, guys, let me just show you something here. I'm gonna duplicate this tab, and on the second tab, let's just go with VFE. So VFE is just a straight ETF, no bells and whistles. VFV, here we go, and it's your Vanguard. All right, let's hit close here. And why I want to do this is, what did I have? I have this on 1 year. It gives you a general idea. Like, look at this shape, and now look at this shape. They're the exact same shape, mostly. Other than you will notice, like, look at this climb, but look at the slope. Look at the slope on the Vanguard. It's a bigger slope. Why? Because it doesn't lose upside potential. Now, mind you, and I think Adriano will point this out, even though you're making more value here, Yeah, you're also making more money here. Like you're getting paid. So, if all of that money were put back in, like if you reinvested everything, this would be a slightly steeper slope. It wouldn't be 100%. It wouldn't be 100% to this slope, but it would be closer. It would definitely be closer. Bismarcky says Air Canada will make money by not flying. Probably. Oh boy. Yeah, that's funny. Rory says, does WestJet go more or less where Air Canada does anyway? Yes and no. Like I heard WestJet got rid of some of their eastern locations. Like they sort of cut back on some. So there's probably going to be some places that might only have Air Canada that could be really bigly. It could be big impact for them. All right. CC says Canadian likely okay through tariffs. Do you see Canadian breaking 80 cents against weakening USD by Christmas next summer? It's interesting. We all, all the doomsayers and all of the very good analysts, not just the doomsayers, they all thought that the Canadian dollar, because of these tariffs, was going to absolutely tank. And we kind of got the opposite. But here's the question. Is it because of the strength of the Canadian economy, or is it because of the Trump effect on the U.S. side? That's a question. That's a question somebody smarter than me might be able to answer, because I don't think we know. So it will be interesting to see how that's all going to work out. But if things keep going the way they're going now, 80 cents could be possible. By Christmas, hard to say. By next summer, maybe a better chance. Or in the new year, or I would say maybe spring. Let's just sort of cut that in the middle. We'll say spring. If guys, every year I make predictions for the year. I have a feeling I'm normally pretty good. I normally bat about 75%. I normally bat about 75 to, well, actually I think one year I did like 80-85%, but I normally do pretty darn good. But I made predictions for this year, and I don't actually remember what they are. But I'll watch that video back as we move into the new year, so in about 6 months, and we'll do a video on those predictions. I have a feeling they're going to be dismal. I have a feeling that they're going to be they're going to be interesting. They're going to be interesting. Who could have foreseen this year? Oh well. Paul says the .U Canadian ETFs can have a volume problem like SOLL.U. Yes. So a lot of times, like most Canadians are just like, oh, I'll just get SOLL. They're fine. They're not worried. It's like in Canadian. Who cares? Most people are like that. So the people, the more elite people who are like, I want to remove currency from the equation. I'm going to get the peg to the US dollar version. There's less of them. Because there's less of them, the volumes are definitely down on them. Also the same thing too when you look at bank ETFs. Like I did a review on a bank ETF for Australian banks. I love the Australian banking sector. It's a lot like the Canadian one. It's fantastic. But the ETF that we featured, very low volume, because once again, how many people are thinking about, how many Canadians come home and say, gosh, you know what? I really am under diversified in Australian banking. Not a lot, unfortunately, but it's kind of that thing. But nowadays, if you want to keep it simple, just get an all equity, and you'll have access to the world pretty much. Brian says, when I was new to trading, I found out the hard way about low volume stocks. Yes. Now, when you're trading, you see, and this is the thing with low volume. When you're trading, that you can get burnt, because if you need to make quick moves and you've got a low volume, you could put in a sell order, and if nobody's buying it, it doesn't matter what happens. You could be sitting there for 20 minutes. Usually not 20 minutes, but I'm just using that as a an oversized example. And by the time your order goes through, the price that you were hoping to get, yeah, it may be gone. So hopefully you used a limit sell. That way there, at least if it does do something crazy like that, you don't sell and then you just sit on it and wait for your next opportunity and hope you can sell. Or in some cases, you do sell at least a partial. Like, let's say you had 1,000 shares and you're trying to sell them all at a big profit. But with that low volume, maybe you sell 5 shares. So, then you sit on the 995 and wait for your next opportunity. That's the danger of a really, really low volume. Now, if you're curious and you're thinking, well, Candace, how the heck do I know what the volume is? Here's a great way right here. So here's this one we were looking at, Perseus Mining. So this is their main page on Yahoo, and they give you the average volume. So here you can see right now, 21,833 shares typically sell on a day. So that gives you a general idea. So obviously, on a stock like this, it's a small stock. That's not a bad volume. That's not a bad volume. Now, if you have a big stock and it has a volume like this, I'd be a little concerned. But mostly, like if you look at a big stock, like let's go to VFV. Here we go. VFV, let's take a look at their volume. So their average volume, yeah, look, it's nice and big. 212.075 thousand. So, a lot of these. So, with something like this, you're going to have you'll sell it instantly. Instantly. It's not even an issue. All right. Rory says, I learned a lot from from established investors after I made the typical mistakes when I started out. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. When everybody starts out, you make mistakes. Absolutely. When I first started investing, I started in my cash account. Did not fully, didn't think, I should be in my TFSA. I should be taking advantage of the tax-free. I figured that out within a couple of days. And then I had to sell everything I had just bought in my cash account and move things over to the TFSA. So there's little mistakes like that. People make them. I've watched a few other people online make some of those same mistakes. But yeah, that's the thing. I always look at it this way. This is my philosophy on mistakes. I don't like to make the same mistake twice. If you make a mistake, great, fantastic. Learn from it. And then find a way to make a brand spanking new mistake next time. And then learn from that. And then another brand spanking new mistake. And then learn from that. All that fun stuff. Did you check the earnings? For Pfizer. Is that what we were talking about? Were we talking about Pfizer, Michael? I think so. You talk about Pfizer a lot. So let's actually add Pfizer here and take a look here. PZE. Or maybe not. Oh, boy. Oops, let's try it this way. All right. All right, go away. Oh, that's why. It wasn't, my delete wasn't working on it. All right. Yeah, it's like, can I even spell Pfizer? Phi. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can't spell Pfizer. Oh, boy. That's embarrassing. Pfizer's one of these ones that's just really, really weird. All right. That's right. There's an F in it. All right. PF. There we go. There we go. Boom. Yes. There we go. Candace can spell. Really, I can. All right. Let's pull it up here. All right. Here's the earnings. There we go. Let's take a gander and see. I got nothing here, Michael. I got nothing. But that's just because they haven't dropped yet. They haven't dropped here yet. But we'll have earnings. We'll have earnings tomorrow. Although tomorrow we're not going to be talking about Pfizer because we're going to have Adriano on. We're going to be talking about income investing, all of that fun stuff. Danielle says, hello, Candace. I might try the Air Canada swing. Life is short, and why not? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Just have a strategy. That's the thing. As long as you have a defined strategy, you're good. You're good for sure. A small one. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing, guys. If you're going to do swing trading, if you're going to play with it, don't play with more than you can afford to lose. And I'll even say this. If you're starting swing trading, don't trade with more than you're willing to sit on in case that trade goes awry. And I will even say this: stick to companies with good fundamentals. One of the things I will do is, for example, well, let's pull this up here. I will come into my stock list and I will look to say, all right, who's down today? Who is down today? So you'll notice here, Lawton's is down, but here's this other one here. So I looked, and this is what I did today. I did this today. MRU. So this is Metro. Metro is the company that owns Sobeys. So yeah, there's no problem. They had a bad earnings call. So their earnings weren't up to snuff. And I'm just going to pull this over a little bit, and you can sort of see. So here's what happened. They went down. So you know what? They're probably going to get back up here within a day or two. I bought in here. I bought some shares. So I bought at like 98 something, and I'm going to ride it up to, maybe 104, maybe 104. So that's a nice little swing. Now, here's the thing. This is a fundamentally strong company. The chances are, if they stay down for a little bit, I can hold, I can wait. So the fund that I did this in, it's not in the 0 to 100K. It's in one of my other funds. That money can sit in Metro for a month, 2 months, if it has to. I don't think it's going to take that long. I quite honestly think in about a week, it's probably going to be back up around 105, 106. So within a week, I think I'll have made that trade and I'll move on to the next one. And I might, once again, come back here and look. But by picking a company like Metro is sound fundamentals. I know they're going to rebound. I know it will happen. It's always a time play. Whereas if I went and picked some company that doesn't have strong fundamentals, well, that's a different game. And yeah, a lot of times those companies, so you look at something like Metro, we're talking $100 a share. So you got to put a lot of money in if you want, to make a significant swing on them. If you're making a small trade, Metro is probably not the company to do it with at all. So, and you can go through and look at a few of these other companies and see what we got here. So if you want to go half that size, you could go to Lumen 48. So this here is that one that actually we had a question on earlier. They're one of the ones spun out from Constellation Software. And let's pull this over here. As you can see, they are starting to come down here. Now, one of the differences with this is they did have a rise and they're having a fall. So they could settle out and move sideways because they do have a bit of a history at this level in here. So that is the one danger with this, that you could get stuck in it a little bit longer. Whereas with Metro, they were up quite a ways. But you can look at other stocks. You can go even smaller. You can go, but be careful if you start getting towards penny stocks, then you're going to get into some issues where a stock could go down and stay down and just keep on plunging. But, if they have strong fundamentals, if they're a name that you recognize, you're probably going to be okay. Especially if it's not, like, don't put the rent money on it because you kind of need that by the end of the month. So you want to have something that can just sit there. If it goes sideways. The worst thing you can do is, if something does go sideways and it stays down, then you can be like, oh, well, this one didn't work out. Let's just sell it. Why would you take that loss? That's why I always say, make sure that you don't mind. So kind of like when if you're going to do a bit of swing trading, don't put, like if you've got $1,000 to swing trade, well, don't put all $1,000 on one thing. Maybe split it up into 3, 4 different things. Some people will even split it up into 10. I mean, with $1,000 or 10, that means like $100 for each trade. It's up to you though. But I'm just saying, if you're starting small, start with a single stock. Put a little bit in it. Wait it out. If it doesn't recover fast enough, just wait it out. You'll be fine. Rory says, watch oil too. It's under OPEC pressure, eyeing C&Q below 40. Yeah. I mean, C&Q is going to be down for a bit, thanks to OPEC, as we mentioned before. Michael says, looks like Pfizer could break out with the last week earnings, knock PE down to 13. Now that first of this PE was over 40. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what these numbers are going to look like, Michael, once we get the data. Danielle says, I'm very excited about HHIC. Also, I have money aside waiting. Nice. Jim says, I made a few mistakes when I started out, but my dad helped me out as well, and he is a blue chip dividends guy. So I had other stuff, so the hit from a mistake was I slowed down. Yeah. And you know what? You're going to make mistakes. The big thing is just make sure you learn from them. As long as you're learning from your mistakes, then they're not potentially that bad of a thing. Let's see. I see PRU trades over 107, and do you only buy stocks in Canada? Not necessarily. I will dabble in the U.S. as well, but a lot of times I gain a lot of my U.S. exposure through Canadian stocks. But no, I have. I mean, at one point in the 0 to 100K, we actually had a few U.S. stocks in there sitting as well, and I'll probably bring some back eventually. Jim says the super duper scary 3x cash call ETF that come in pairs. Oh boy. Oh, 3x. That's kind of scary. But yeah, it does. It's fun sometimes, that's for sure. Rory, the only 2x I ever traded was the HOD inverse. Yes, Rory's famous for that HOD inverse one. Now, I will admit, I have made a few swing trades with TQQQ. And that there is the 3X, the new 3X one, Beta Pro one for the NASDAQ. So if I see really good evidence that the NASDAQ is going to be flying for the day, I might throw a little bit into. I won't put a lot in because it is... if things go sideways, they really go sideways because you're looking at 3 times the leverage. But I will throw a tiny bit in and let it ride. I don't mind a little bit, but not a lot. Brian says, yes, I learned the partial sell at $9.99 at TD. Only sold part of it. Another time I did the all or not sell, and it took a few hours into the next day as well. Yeah. So, okay, and this is interesting, actually. So with TD, so where they charge you $9.99, so they would charge you $9.99 at each part of the sell. So let me ask you this question, Brian. If it took an hour to sell and it sold it in 3 batches, would you get hit $9.99 for each of those batches? I've never used one of these ones that charge commissions, so I'm kind of curious. That would be... Gosh, that would be horrible. Unless, here's the thing: if I ran TD, I would put in a rule that maybe one a day. Like if somebody puts in a sale and it sells in a couple pieces in one day, fine, just $9.99. But if it sells over multiple days, I don't know. I don't like commissions. Bismarcky says TFSA is not named properly. It should be a tax-free investment account, not a savings account. Yeah. I would agree 100%. I would agree because I know my mom had put money in her TFSA, and I was like, "Oh, have you invested in anything?" "Oh, no. It just sits there. It's a savings account." I'm like, "It really isn't." "Oh, yes, it is. It's in the title." Oh boy. Paul says Nvidia and AMD agreed to give the U.S. government 15% of their revenues from chip sales in China, being described as an unusual agreement with Trump in order to obtain export licenses for the chips. Oh, yeah. Oh, just think, 3.5 years, all of these deals can be redone into something a little more sane and easier to understand. Let's see, I'm talking about a few earnings like before the open and after the close. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. My TFSA is strictly for investments. I get no savings in it. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Pfizer report last Tuesday that made 78. That was a 21 more that raised the outlook. Okay. Um, Find stocks that go up, up, and up over time, and buy for a swing when they are having a down month. Yeah, that's exactly what I do, unless I find a channel, and that's another story as well. Rory says CNR is down every day. It seems that way. It seems that way. CN will come back, but sometimes it's like, how can I keep saying that over and over again? CN, give me some help here. Come up. Let's see. Andrew said just did this with LMM, CSU, and TOI. Yeah, exactly. Max is in the house with a good afternoon, all. All right. Jim says, I watched a video on CNR this morning. They were buying back shares at the peak of the market and spending more on buyback than they had income. Interesting. Yeah. I want CNR to start pulling up their weights because they are one of my favorite stocks. I do love CNR. They're a very important part of the Canadian supply chain. Very important. So I have faith in them. My faith has not been shaken, but I just want them to come back. I'm like, come back, because right now I don't want to get over diversified into them. And sometimes when they keep going down, it's very tempting to keep averaging down, for sure. Rory says, short term, I believe CP to be the better buy. You are 100% correct on that. Jim says, and shipping volume for CNR has been dropping over the last few months. Yeah, well, CN is getting hit harder by the tariffs than CP, 100%. And CP, as predicted, CP fell also. Yeah, well, CP also is being impacted, but not as hard, I think, as CN. Let's see, Brian. I believe it's on the day. I've seen multiple buys, only paid once over 2 days, pay twice if there is a partial each day. I've never paid more than twice. I don't buy low volume shares anymore. Okay, all right. Good. Whew. All right, I like that. That's a little bit better, a little bit better. At first, I was like worried. It might have been on the venture markets. Okay. Let's see. I use CIBC if a partial fills right away. It's one charge. Dan says, great chat. Thanks. Take care, all. Thumbs up. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, Dan. I have a feeling you're already gone, but I am finally caught up. So, guys, it is time for the last minute questions because we're already into overtime. So if you got a quick question that you can get in fast, do it. Now's the time. CC says, first heavy tariff shipments from China start arriving in 5 weeks. Yikes. Yeah. I mean, we still have a lot of this tariff damage takes time to filter into the economy. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. Jim says, CIBC just holds the partial open till it fills, but you have the option to take the partial. I just waited. Okay. Fair enough. All right. I'm going to have some coffee here while I'm waiting for the last minute questions. Oh, so good. And this is a perfect, yes. So tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, that is when we will have this week conversations with Adriano. Adriano from Passive Income Investing is going to be here. We're going to talk about everything passive income. It's going to be, oh my God, it's going to be a fantastic show. Guys, get in here tomorrow. Get your questions ready. I'm going to try my best to get as many of your questions as possible. But quite honestly, if you really want a question answered tomorrow, you're going to need to super it. So you might have to kick in those 99 cents to do a basic super just to get that question read. I'll still try. I will still absolutely try to get questions, depending on how busy it is. We'll see. I mean, maybe only 5 people show up and we can answer every question. That's not going to happen. But it's funny. I don't think I've ever had a live stream with only 5 people. Maybe, well, maybe one of the channel member ones early on. I think there's probably been situations like that, but I've never seen it. Never seen it. So I think it's going to be, yeah, tomorrow's going to be so much fun. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. 3 p.m., guys. And Brian says, I'm just about fully moved out of TD and into Wealth Simple. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right, guys. Woo. Also coming up this week, Friday. Friday, we are going to be, we're going to look at all of the new harvest. So all of the new Canadian ones and HHIC and all of the ones it holds. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. And I believe Adriano is in the same time zone. I do believe he's in the same time zone, just a lot further south, like Central America South, I believe. All right, and Vic comes in at the last minute. Hey, Vic, good to see you. All right, and Paul saying bye. And yeah, Panama. Does anybody else all of a sudden hear David Lee Roth screaming Panama in the back of your head? I did. All right, have a good week. All right, we'll see you guys back here again tomorrow. Tomorrow, it'll be fantastic. I can't wait. And I will hope tonight that that Vic's vacation doesn't get canceled by Air Canada. Let's hope. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. Me and Adriano. It will be a fun one. It's going to be awesome. All right, until then, bye-bye.